This is Neil Villapiano, and welcome back to another episode of the NVP Show. Again, we got a lot of good topics to talk about in the wide world of sports. So without further ado, let's get to it. So first thing we're going to talk about the Major League Baseball postseason. We already have one representative in the World Series. The Cleveland Indians defeated the Toronto Blue Jays in 5 games and clinching it in Game 5, winning 3-0, and they advanced to the World Series for the first time since 1997, and that's a relatively long time for Cleveland Indians fans. But you gotta say that Cleveland sports have got some magic going right now. You know, remember back in the summer, the Cavaliers won the NBA championship over Golden State. Since then, the Indians have been one of the hotter teams in baseball and have carried that momentum into the postseason and have gone on to win the necessary 7 games you need to get to the World Series. And they've only lost 1 game. They won not 1, but 2 games in Toronto, and that was impressive to me. They're 3-1 on the road, so you have to say that the Indians definitely have some momentum on either both at home and on the road. And so what's really impressive is just the fact that also that the Blue Jays, who on paper have a tremendous offense, you look at their lineup. Jose Bautista, the reigning American League MVP Josh Donaldson, Troy Tulowitzki, Edwin Encarnacion. You look at that's 4 big-time players, 4 all-stars if you ask me. And the Indians pitching staff shut them down twice. Twice the Blue Jays finished with no runs, and including Game 5, which helped the Indians clinch the American League title. And so you have to give a lot of credit to this team because on paper they don't have as much talent as the Blue Jays, but the one thing that the Indians did that the Blue Jays didn't, they played more like a team. Terry Francona knew what buttons to push at the right time. And he really utilized, guys like Andrew Miller, who ended up becoming the American League Championship Series Most Valuable Player, and he utilized him and everybody else the right way, and they looked really good doing it. And I gotta give them a lot of credit for shutting down the Blue Jays. I know a lot of people say the Blue Jays were overrated anyway. They shouldn't have been in the playoffs. They were lucky to make it because of the one game playoff that they beat the Orioles in. But also you have to remember that they went in and played the best team record-wise in the American League, Texas Rangers, and swept them aside like it was nothing. And they moved on to the American League Championship Series. And the Indians just blew them aside. I mean, the Blue Jays were probably lucky that they were able to win a game. I know they scored 5 runs. A lot of people thought, oh, now here come the Blue Jays. Now they're going to finally start getting some runs and making some plays. They went right back to scoring no runs. I mean, that's a little embarrassing to score no runs in a playoff game at home. And so, again, kudos to the Cleveland Indians because they really pitched well. And there are 2 guys on the Indians that really I've been impressed with, and that's Francisco Lindor is the first guy. I think he's the unsung hero of this team. He has come up with big plays throughout the entire postseason, and he's been one of the leaders of the team. And it seems like when he goes, the Indians go, and they just keep rolling. So, and I think that that's going to be a big thing when they play in the World Series. If he goes, I feel like the Indians will go, and the whole thing will, they'll continue to play well and just have a lot of success. And the other guy that I'm impressed with is Mike Napoli. Remember, Mike Napoli in 2013 was with the Boston Red Sox. He had a very good postseason, a very good season all around, and helped the Red Sox win a championship. This year, he's playing for the Indians, and he also had another really good regular season. He struggled a little bit in the postseason until Game 5 when he came through with that clutch RBI double in the top of the first to give the Indians the 1-0 lead. And he's come through with clutch hits in the postseason, and he should be a key factor in the World Series for the Indians. So that should be fun to watch. So all in all, again, congratulations to the Cleveland Indians. Congratulations to Cleveland sports. You have another team in the championship round. And let's see if the Indians can continue that, hopefully continue that luck and that juju that a lot of people like to say. Keep that juju going, and they can hopefully win a championship. But let's see. Now let's shift over to the National League. We got the Cubs and the Dodgers. Game 6 is tonight. Clayton Kershaw will be on the mound for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And the Dodgers know that they have the right guy on here if they want to at least force this to a Game 7. And so you have to think, the Dodgers were in prime position up 2-1, with a chance to take a 3-1 lead heading into Game 5 at home. They couldn't get it done, and then they lost Game 5 at home, and now they're going. And now that's definitely the last home game of this round for the Dodgers. But I would be impressed if they can take not one but both games in Chicago. But like I said, Clayton Kershaw will be on the mound for the Dodgers. And you have to think about it. What is the key for the Cubs in this? Well, they obviously have the momentum with winning 2 games in Los Angeles, and they were able to. And now they only need is 1 victory, and we're gonna have to wait and see really, because a lot of Cubs fans know that they've been cursed, and I just want to say there is no such thing as a curse. I know people might think I'm crazy, but there's no such thing. I mean, look at the Red Sox. You look at the 86 years that they didn't win a World Series. They made the World Series several times in that time period, and they were very good for many, many years. They consistently made the playoffs. That's not really getting cursed. I can see the Cubs being more of a team that's getting cursed because they haven't made the World Series since the 1940s. And they've had many years where they just weren't good and they were very mediocre. But at the same time, they also had several good years, a handful of good years where they made the playoffs and went far, especially 2003. But I'm not going to go there because I don't want Cubs fans to rip my head off. But like I'm saying, look, the Cubs have the momentum, and if there is such thing as a curse, they need to break it tonight. I feel that if they can't win Game 6 tonight, I feel the worst for Cubs fans in Game 7. Even though Kershaw probably won't pitch he's not going to pitch that game. If they can't get to Kershaw tonight, the Dodgers are going to win, and they're probably going to win Game 7. Now again, a lot of people might say, "Oh, well, you just don't like the Cubs. That's why you're picking the Dodgers." That's not entirely true. Another part of the reason is because of the fact that the Dodgers have been playing relatively well. I mean, I know they played the Nationals in the first round, but they looked good. They already stole a game in Chicago, so it's not like it's impossible for the Dodgers not to do this. And they do have some good players. They have Chase Utley, former Philly, Carlos Ruiz, former Philly. I just want to say a lot of former Phillies that are doing well for the Dodgers, not shockingly. They have some other guys, Howie Kendrick, Jock Peterson, Corey Seager, Yasiel Puig. That's a handful of guys that can do very well. And Adrian Gonzalez, I might add, he scored that 1 run in Game 2, I believe, of this LCS, which was a home run, and that ended up being the only run. Who pitched that game? Clayton Kershaw. So again, if Kershaw's on his game, it's going to be a long night for Cubs fans. And they know that they have to win this game, because I feel that a lot of Cubs fans and a lot of players will be very nervous going into Game 7. And the Dodgers will probably be very relaxed because they'll say, hey, we just won our 2nd game in Chicago, and now we got a chance to steal the whole series away from the Cubs and go on to the World Series. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun to watch tonight, and it's just going to be really interesting. There is one guy in the Cubs that I want everybody to pay attention to, and if you haven't watched this series, you probably will agree with me. The one guy that's really stepped up in the postseason for the Cubs is Javier Baez. It seems like every game he's getting a clutch hit or two. He came up in Game 5, and he came up with a clutch RBI double that cleared the bases and pretty much blew this game wide open 2 nights ago and helped the Cubs win Game 5 decisively. But I've seen him make several big-time plays on the field, especially in the field. He has a tremendous glove, and he has a tremendous arm from second base. He's made a lot of good plays, and I think if the Cubs win the LCS, I think he rightfully should be the LCS MVP because he's really carried this team, and he's really been big. And also, Ben Zobrist has played relatively well. Well, then again, ever since Ben Zobrist left the Rays, he's normally been clutch for several teams. So, yeah, you could definitely say that he could also be a candidate, but definitely Javier Baez. Just watch him. Number 9 on the Chicago White Sox, their second baseman. You want to think about it. They went from Starlin Castro last year, who was phenomenal, goes to the Yankees, and now they have Javier Baez, who is stepping up big time in the playoffs and has helped the Cubs get within 1 game of the World Series, dare I say it. But yeah, it's just really big. But I just want to end off with my prediction. Again, I think that the Dodgers will win tonight. They have Clayton Kershaw on the mound. I think they will get it done tonight. But I think, and I know I just said that I think the Cubs will be done, but I actually think that the Cubs will win Game 7. So I'm going to say Cubs in 7. I don't know if I'm going to be right or wrong. Normally, as you guys probably know, my predictions are very poor because I'm not very good at this, but I try my best. But no, that's just what I feel. I feel that it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game, and I feel that it's going to be very interesting. All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the NFL. We got some interesting games coming up this weekend for the Giants, Jets, and Eagles, and we also got the NBA and my weekly college football predictions. So we'll see you when you get back here on the NVP Show.
Sub some sizzle. This is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including haircuts, straight razor shaves, massages, facial, manicures, pedicures, and waxing. To find more information or book an appointment, visit us online at www.simplygents.com. The secret weapon of a well-groomed man, Simply Gents.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly.
Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Welcome back, everybody, to the MVP Show. I'm your host, Neil Villapiano. So let's keep going here in the world of sports. You guys come here to hear me talk about sports and to give my opinions and projections and everything, and that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to deliver. So let's talk about the National Football League for a while. We got some things to talk about here. So why don't you grab your coffee and take a seat? You might want to listen to this one. So let's talk about the Eagles first. We're close. I'm a lot closer to the Philadelphia area, so I'm sure a lot of the Eagles fans out there want to hear me talk about them. So let's talk about them. This might be their biggest matchup so far this season. They're at home against the 5-0 Minnesota Vikings, and that's not the biggest story of the game. The biggest story is Sam Bradford's return to Philadelphia, and I'm kind of interested to see how will the Eagles fans react to him. Will they boo him? Will they cheer him for some unknown reason? Will they say nothing? I think they're going to boo him. I think they're going to boo him because they're seeing how much success he's having, and they're saying, oh, you couldn't have had this much success in Philly? What the heck? Let's all just take a chill pill here, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, Sam Bradford come back to Philadelphia against the Eagles. I think it should be interesting. The one thing you want to think about the Eagles is the fact that they've lost 2 in a row. So they're kind of having their first struggling of the season. So, and I'm hoping that these Eagles fans are not saying, oh, here we go again. We're going to have another crappy season after such a good start, blah, 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 blah. Let's just chill out a little bit here. They're still good. They're still better. They're better than the Giants. Yeah, I went there. I know I'm a Giants fan. I went there, ladies and gentlemen, so you should be happy about that. They're better than the Giants. They're easily in the, it's still early in the year. We're only into week 6 of the NFL season. We're not even halfway done. So let's just all see what happens. And what's good about this is I said this last week about after the Lions beat the Eagles, is that Carson Wentz finally having his time where he's struggling, and this is good for his development. It will help him to understand what he needs to do to correct himself and to make himself better. I really think this should be a fun game. I really do. I think that it's going to be a back and forth matchup, but I think the Eagles are going to come out on top. I'm going to say they're going to win this one 24-14. I think that the defense of the Eagles will step up. I think they'll have a lot of emotion playing against Sam Bradford, and I think they're going to dominate. So I really think the Vikings' winning streak is going to come to an end tomorrow, and I think that the Eagles are going to be that team that everybody's going to be praising, that, oh, finally somebody beat the Vikings. I don't think the Vikings are that good. I don't think they're, 5-0 doesn't say, oh, they're unstoppable. No, they can be beat. I mean, look, they have Sam Bradford, and I'm just saying, he hasn't been that consistent. He played with the Rams, and he's had a few good years. Goes to the Eagles, he played okay, and now he's kind of like okay with the Vikings. I know people are saying, oh, what a tremendous job by Sam Bradford. Please. Let's just relax here. Let's wait like another 6 weeks and you tell me if you still think Sam Bradford is the guy for the Vikings. So let's just hold our horses. Now let's talk about an interesting dilemma. Let's talk about the New York Giants. Yeah, and I know. Let the Eagles fans boo me. Why not? I don't care. But look, the Giants, they have an interesting matchup. They're in London. They're in London, England, and they're playing at 9:30 in the morning. So I have to get my sorry butt up at 8 o'clock in the morning to watch a football game. And no, it's not high school. It's the NFL. And they're playing in I might say this wrong, Twickenham, England, London, and they're calling it the Twickenham Bowl. I have no idea why they're calling it that. But this isn't the first NFL game in London this year. As you remember, the Colts and the Jaguars a few weeks ago played at Wembley Stadium in pretty much in downtown London. And the Giants, they haven't been to London since 2007 when they played the first annual NFL game in London against the Miami Dolphins, and they won. That same year, the Giants went on to win the Super Bowl. So Giants fans, what does that tell you? Doesn't tell you anything. But yeah, no, it should be fun to watch. I think it's great that the NFL is trying to expand the sport of American football to places like England and even Mexico and playing games. So I think it should be fun to watch. I'm not really thrilled that it's like at 9 in the morning, but I understand that England is several hours in front of the U.S., so it'll stink, but the good news is that it'll get, I'll watch that game and then I'll pretty much have the rest of the day to do whatever the heck I want. Probably watch more games because I'm such a big football fan. So yeah, it should be nice. It should be nice. But I'll tell you something that's not nice, and that is that Josh Brown, the kicker for the New York Giants, who has already had trouble with his domestic violence problems with his ex-wife from last year, has now been put on the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell's exempt list. And so now that means that the Giants have to get a new kicker. And that also means that Josh Brown probably will no longer kick for the New York Giants and might not never kick again. He probably won't kick again in the NFL. But the Giants signed a new kicker, and their new kicker is former Chicago Cubs. Jeez, what am I talking about? We're talking about the Cubs. Chicago Bears kicker Robbie Gould. Now this was exciting because when Josh Brown first got suspended, they were thinking, oh, we need a new kicker. I was thinking Robbie Gould. He just got cut by the Bears, and he has the most points of any player in Bears history. He is a clutch kicker. He's an accurate kicker. He's also a little bit younger than Josh Brown, so the Giants could hold on to him for a few more years. I think this was a smart pickup to get Robbie Gould, and I think he'll do well. And I'm actually really excited about it because I know that he's capable of doing well, and I know he went to Penn State, and I saw him play Penn State when I was younger. Again, very consistent, He helped several other kickers do very well, gave him some pointers, and I think he'll do well. So I think, smart job by the Giants. Now let me go back to Josh Brown for a minute. What I am frustrated about is this. The NFL knew about all this that was going on. Josh Brown was very honest about it. He didn't lie. He didn't give up on anything. He didn't, say like, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. He was very upfront about it. I just don't like the fact that the NFL all of a sudden now is deciding, oh, now we're going to punish him. Why couldn't they have just done it when they first heard about this, like a year or two ago? Why didn't they do this? I give a lot of credit to Josh Brown, saying all he's been trying to do is make himself into a better human being. So I give a lot of credit to him. And I'm not mad at him. I get that he did that stuff. I don't approve of the domestic violence. I'm not a fan of it. But I give him credit for being honest, not lying about it, and saying he wants to be a better person. And I didn't know anything about this until the beginning of the season. I didn't know Josh Brown was like this. I thought he was just another kicker, a very quiet guy that was just doing his job. But, look, I just got to say that, I hope that Josh Brown will get through this and either come back to the Giants or go to somewhere else and continue to do well because, I think he's just trying to move on and wants to be a better person, and I think that's big. But, kudos to him. And one last thing I want to talk about the Giants, and this kind of pisses me off. Odell Beckham was fined again, this time for taking off his helmet after he scored the game-winning touchdown against the Ravens last week. Now, the rule is that you can't take your helmet off in the end zone. That's a penalty. But he was not in the end zone. He was out of bounds and he took his helmet off. Why was that a penalty? And I'll tell you why. Because it's Odell freaking Beckham. Because the NFL has been very frustrated with his on the field actions, getting very frustrated with the refs, getting into a lot of skirmishes. Well, he said a couple weeks ago he's not having fun because the NFL is not giving him a chance. He's getting hit after the play and they're not calling anything. And that's what's pissing me off. And that's why he's probably doing all this stuff. And that's why he's getting frustrated. And that's why he decided to propose to a kicking net, just to piss off the NFL. Which, by the way, I'm definitely gonna try to attend that wedding. That'll be fun. But yeah, I don't approve of it. I just like, really, another fine? How many more weeks can Odell Beckham go before he's finally gonna just snap on the whole league? The NFL needs to chill out. There are other things that people have done that are much worse than what he's doing. And I know I might sound biased because I'm a Giants fan and I'm an Odell fan, but at the same time, he's not doing anything totally wrong. He's just complaining about the fact that he's not getting a fair share. And he's right. He wasn't getting a fair share. And he still isn't. So I hope that the NFL can find a way to fix this, because if they don't, it's only going to get worse. And they're just going to keep fighting him until eventually they might suspend him for no apparent reason. But that's just not right. And they need to fix that. They need to fix that as soon as possible. Now let's shift to everyone's favorite team, especially in the New York metropolitan area. Probably in my opinion, and I know this is going to piss off a lot of people, but I think is the laughingstock of the National Football League, the New York Jets. And the Jets made headlines this week. Why? Because they announced the new starting quarterback. Is it going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick again? Nope. Is it going to be my boy who I said before should be the starter, Bryce Petty? Nope. Is it going to be Christian Hackenberg, who played pretty well in the preseason and is a young guy that they could develop and base their team around? Nope. It's Geno Smith, ladies and gentlemen. Quote I heard from an NFL analyst, the best backup quarterback in the NFL. Let that sink in for a minute. Are you blind, the NFL? Seriously, is everyone blind? I mean, really. This is ridiculous at the fact that I know people that think Geno Smith is going to do well and he's going to lead the Jets to the promised land. It's been 3 years now and he hasn't done jack. What are we talking about? This is ridiculous. And the Jets are only going to get worse with Geno in there. He's not consistent. And the only reason that Geno Smith will do well is because he's trying to impress teams to give him a contract. He will be a restricted free agent at the end of this season. And here's the thing. If he doesn't, and he's not going to be in the Jets' future, I guarantee you he will not be on the Jets next year. I guarantee you it. It's not going to happen. The Jets will want nothing with him, but they realize that they made a huge mistake by giving Ryan Fitzpatrick so much damn money, excuse my language, so much money. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that he waited out. And that's the reason why he's not been playing well. He spent the entire offseason demanding for money and not playing with the team, not practicing, not building chemistry. That's why he stinks. And also, he's vastly overrated. So is Geno Smith. He's vastly overrated. If you want to, I know this season might be already over for Jets fans, but you know what? Why don't you start a rookie quarterback and see what you have? Because Bryce Petty or Christian Hackenberg or whoever the heck is on that team anymore, if they do well, then at least you could say, we know what we have going into next season and we can build our team around them. Not around two guys who you already know for a fact suck. They just flat out suck. It's ridiculous that the fact that the Jets still think that Geno Smith and Ryan Fitzpatrick can do the job. When the Jets played the Cardinals last week on Monday Night Football, they looked atrocious. I mean, absolutely atrocious. They look like they will never score another touchdown again. And Ryan Fitzpatrick has looked horrible. 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 It's ridiculous to the fact that there are people who still think Ryan Fitzpatrick is the savior of the New York Jets. It is the New York Jets, ladies and gentlemen. This is not the Patriots. They can't just put another quarterback in there and they're still good. This is not this. This has been the Jets' problem for decades. They need to get this fixed. That's why they need to get rid of Todd Bowles. He is not the right guy for the Jets. And that is the final straw. He's not right for the Jets. Ryan Fitzpatrick's not right for the Jets. And Geno Smith certainly is not right for the Jets. And that's my rant about the Jets. And you would think I'm a Jets fan, but I'm not. I'm just sick and tired of this. Because I live down in North Jersey, from here in North Jersey, and I have to hear about the Jets every day of my life, whether it's good or bad, mostly bad. And it's just talking about Geno Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and think about, they need to run the ball more. You are out of your freaking mind. Fix the problem, Woody Johnson. I'm talking to you. You need to fix the problem or you're going to stink for a long, long time. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break after this because I need to calm down if I want to continue my show today. When we come back, we're going to talk about the NBA. We're a little less than a week away from the start, from the regular season. We're going to talk about the Knicks and the Nets. We're going to have a couple, we're going to give my little prediction, see how the teams are doing. And we're also going to talk about my weekly college football predictions. Some interesting games coming up this week, and we'll have to see where everything goes. So we'll see you when you get back here on the NVP Show.
Today's show is sponsored by Hargrove Demolition, your demolition experts. Hargrove is a family-owned and operated business right here in the southern New Jersey area, bringing you 45 years of demolition expertise. Hargrove has all your demolition needs, from emergency demolition service to demolition equipment rental. Hargrove is one of the state-approved recycling facilities right here in the southern New Jersey area. No job is too big or too small for Hargrove Demolition. Contact them today at one of their 3 locations.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When we make Beyond Natural dry dog and cat foods, we start with real meat as the first ingredient. We leave out corn, wheat, and soy. And we own where our dry food is made. 100%. Can other brands say all that? For nutrition you can trust and your pet will enjoy. Does your food go beyond? Learn more at purinabeyond.com.
Extra Innings is the nation's premier indoor baseball and softball training center, featuring indoor batting cages, 7 multi-use tunnels, and training rooms. Extra Innings can provide professional instruction, private and group lessons, and the best year-round clinics. Along with a nationally recognized pro shop that features the latest and widest selection of equipment and apparel, our experienced staff can provide you with the right instruction and help you find the best equipment for your ability and budget. Extra Innings, where the game never ends.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
All right, welcome back here to the MVP Show. And it's okay, ladies and gentlemen. I've calmed down after that last rant about the Jets. You know, it's all good now. I'm relaxed. I want to keep going here. It's just, I needed to get that out. I really needed to get that out because I'm so tired of hearing it on the radio and on TV and everything about the Jets and their whole situation. But let's shift away from the NFL and let's talk about the NBA. So we're a little less than a week away from the NBA season starting, about 5-6 days away. And you know, I'm optimistic this year, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan, just in case any of you wanted to know. I've been a Nets fan since they were still in Jersey and they're still playing in the Meadowlands. And I'm still a fan of them now. You know, they're my team. They're my team I got to represent. But let's talk about them a little bit. So they just finished their last preseason game 2 days ago against the New York Knicks, and they dropped it at home. So the Nets finished with, I believe, a 1-5 record in the preseason, which, I mean, isn't that great? But it's just preseason. And the Nets also have 15 new. I mean, they have literally 12 new guys. There's only 3 guys on the Nets that were on the team last year. Actually, actually 2. Brook Lopez and Bogdanovich. Those are the only 2 guys on the Nets that were there from last year. And, you know, look, I'm excited about this season, though. And I know that it probably won't end very well, but I'm still thinking, like, you know, they have a bunch of new guys. They have a new coach, new GM, new everything. And I just, you know, I want to try to go out and see a game or 2 this year, hopefully. And, you know, I just think that they're going to have some good games, you know, a few good games here and there. But what is to be expected? Well, their first game is October 26th against the Boston Celtics in Boston. And then their home opener will be, I believe, the next day at home against the Indiana Pacers. So those are the first 2 games of the year for the Nets. And it should be fun. You know, I think, you know, the fact that they got Jeremy Lin, who hasn't been in New York since he was a Knick, and that's when Linsanity, you know, was created. I think he's going to be one of the leaders of this team. I think that was a really smart pickup by the Nets. And I think that they're going to try to build a team around him and Brook Lopez and Bogdanovich. And I think that, you know, Jeremy Lin could eventually become, you know, the main guy in the franchise player that the Nets have been looking for. And yes, I said that because I never thought that Darren Williams or Joe Johnson was the franchise guy for the Nets. I just, you know, they were at times they were very bipolar, and I don't think they really wanted to be in Brooklyn. But we never know because, you know, we don't know what they're feeling right now. But like I said, you know, it's a lot of fun. You know, it's very optimistic to be a Nets fan right now because you don't know what to expect. The easiest thing you could expect is them to play like garbage. But I think that I'm trying to be positive, being optimistic, and saying, hey, you know, it should be fun. Let's just have some fun out there, man. It's going to be great. And yeah, so, you know, look, there's only one guy I feel that won't be on the Nets by the end of the season. I think it's going to be Brook Lopez. I think that at some point this year the Nets will get rid of him, and they will officially have moved on from like the whole, you know, when the Brooklyn Nets first came in, they're going to get rid of all those guys, and they're going to try to rebuild this team in a different way. And look, the Nets have several guys who are from the Spurs organization, and that's kind of interesting because you think about, the Spurs, you know, they've been good for years, very consistent playoff team, won several NBA championships. And me as a Nets fan, that's what I want. Just one NBA championship before I die. Because I wasn't old enough to watch the Nets in the early 2000s when they went to the finals twice with Jay Kidd and, you know, Jason Collins and those guys. And I wish I could have, because that would have been nice to see a team I like in the NBA play in the NBA Finals, because I've been pretty sick and tired of seeing the same teams in the NBA Finals. But I'm not going to get mad. Not going to flip out. I'm okay. It's going to be fine. But yeah, I would love to see the Nets in the future. Hopefully one day make it to the finals and win it. That would be great. But, this is the first step in trying to rebuild this team and make this team good. So, what do I think about the Nets? I don't think they're going to be the worst team. I think they'll be better than a few other teams that are out there, and I think this will be a good first step. I think they'll have a few really exciting games. I think they'll have a few really nice moments this year, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to try to get myself out there and watch a game or two. So we'll have to wait and see, but it should be an interesting season, and I'm looking forward to an upcoming season here for the Brooklyn Nets. Let's shift over to the other side of New York and Manhattan. The New York Knicks. Like I said, they played the Nets in their final preseason game. I believe they finished with a 3-3 record in the preseason, which is good because you have all these new guys. And speaking of new guys, Derrick Rose, who had that, who was in court a few days ago because of some sexual assault. Because, man, I just gotta say, sexual assault is not good, guys. And I'm talking to the men of the world. Don't relax. This is not the right thing. This is not good. This is not good. And I don't want to get into this too much because this is a touchy subject for me. But look, I just don't like it. But that's just me. But I'm sure most of you agree with me that you don't like this. It's just horrible. But anyway, going back to it, you have Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, David Lee, missing a few other guys. They have Carmelo Anthony, Porzingis. They have a good team that I think will definitely make the playoffs this year. And will finish as one of the better teams in the East. I think they'll finish as the 3rd or 4th seed because I think that team is good. And I think that they'll just, Hornacek, the head coach, new head coach of the Knicks, I think he'll do, what Phil Jackson wants him to do. And I think Phil Jackson's system will work with this Knicks team. And I think they're going to do very well. I think it was smart for them to get an upgrade like this. I don't agree with trading Robin Lopez away because I think having two big guys with Porzingis who can also shoot from way downtown and, Robin Lopez who can get it inside, I just feel like that was frustrating, but maybe that's how much they really had to get rid of in order to get a guy like Derrick Rose. But yeah, I think the Knicks will be good this year. I think that it should be interesting to see how this season goes down. And I think, their first game will be October 25th. They are playing in Cleveland, taking on the Cavs, and that night, that will be the ring and banner ceremony for the defending NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers. And so, obviously, the Knicks would love nothing more than to ruin that by beating them on their home court. But we're going to have to wait and see. It's going to be on, I believe it's going to be on ESPN. I'm not a Knicks fan, but I know there's a lot of Knicks fans that are excited. I think it should be interesting. I'm always looking forward to the Knicks and Nets facing off. That's always fun. But yeah, I just want to say that, it should be a lot of fun this year for both Knicks and Nets fans, and I think it should be fun for the NBA season. You got a lot of new guys in new places, especially Kevin Durant, who I already said I didn't like what he did. But yeah, no, I just feel like this will be a fun year for the Nets and the Knicks, and I'm hoping that you guys will get ready for NBA season because me being a fan of other teams and other sports, I haven't had a lot of luck. So maybe hockey and basketball will help change that this year, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, we're going to take one more commercial break, but when we come back, I will give my weekly college football predictions, and then I will do my sign-off. So we'll see when you get back here on the NVP Show.
Saving your business money is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Tanker Consulting Services, a payment solutions expert, will show you how with a free, detailed, written analysis illustrating your cost savings. We usually uncover savings between 10 and 25%, and sometimes more. We can help your business succeed by providing reliable and secure merchant payment solutions such as merchant services programs, point-of-sale systems, and ATM machines. TCS, one of the leaders in regional credit card processing consulting, offers electronic payments to merchants locally and nationwide through our preferred vendor programs. We work to keep business costs down with a comprehensive suite of quality products, services, and customized credit card processing programs exclusively tailored for your company. TCS is convenient, reliable, and innovative, with customer service available 24/7, 365 days a year. Our in-depth industry knowledge, partnership strategy, and innovative processing solutions allow for a specialized approach to providing merchant bank processing with 100% full fee disclosure. TCS is one-stop shopping for all your merchant services solutions. Our clients save money 100% of the time. Trust Tanker Consulting Services, the knowledgeable, professional, and friendly provider of secure payment services. We set the standard by which others are measured. Call now for a free written analysis. 609-922-0201.
Sub some sizzle. This is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including haircuts, straight razor shaves, massages, facial, manicures, pedicures, and waxing. To find more information or book an appointment, visit us online at www.simplygents.com. The secret weapon of a well-groomed man, Simply Gents.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly.
Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
For like 10 years ago. Oh. All right, welcome back here to the NVP Show with your host, Neil Villapiano. Let's get to our last topic of the day. I know it's always sad when you guys have to see me leave, but I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. And like I said, I'm going to probably remind you guys this towards the end of the show, but make sure to stay here after I'm done, because the Philly sports guys with Pete and Aaron will be here after I'm done. They'll be talking about a bunch of things, so the sports will continue for another hour, so it should be fun. But let's get to my weekly college football talk. And let's talk about the first game I want to talk about. It happened last night. It was University of California versus Oregon. And that was a fun game, yo. I mean, that was fun. It was 21-0 Cal in the second quarter, and finally Oregon's offense woke up. And unfortunately for the Ducks, since their defense has been so weak, they were not able to win. They lost 52-49 in double overtime. It was an exciting game, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. And I stayed up and watched it. That's probably why I'm so tired. But I stayed up and watched it because I just loved watching that game. Back and forth, a lot of scoring, a lot of big plays. It was just a lot of fun. And I just gotta say, man, you know, I find it interesting how the powerhouses, the usual powerhouses of the Pac-12, you know, Stanford, Oregon, might be forgetting somebody else, USC, are struggling now. And now you have these teams that normally don't do well, like Washington. Look at Washington. They're in the top 5 in college football. And that might actually, and you know, the question is, does that hurt the Pac-12 and their chances of making the Final Four? No, I don't think so. I think if a team like Washington stays undefeated and wins the Pac-12, I think they certainly will win. Because remember, Stanford was still ranked when they blew them out. And Oregon was still relatively good when they blew them out, even though it was only last week. They were still good. So you have to realize that the fact that Washington is beating teams that they're supposed to beat and beating teams that they're not supposed to beat, and they're doing it in convincing fashion. And I've told Rutgers fans before, the more Washington wins, the less the better that loss looks on us after that week 1 debacle. But no, I don't feel like with these. I think it's always fun to see teams that you normally don't see do well. I think the college football committee would probably like to see 1 or 2 teams that didn't make it last year or weren't expected to win. You know, teams like Houston, Washington, Louisville. I think that would be fun for the game. I think a lot of people would want to tune into that because they'd be like, wow, you have these teams like, you know, Washington, where are they coming from? But, you know, I just want to say, the quarterback for Washington, Josh Browning, I think he should be the Heisman Trophy, the #1 guy. He's played out of his mind. He's been throwing up numbers, getting touchdown passes, looking great out there. I think he is a big favorite to win. He's in the top 3 right now. And I think he's probably the second best quarterback in the country besides, and I have to say, is Deshaun Watson. And I think Lamar Jackson's number 3 because I feel like he's a one-dimensional type player. I think it's phenomenal what he's done with all the scoring that he's done, but I feel like he's a one-dimensional guy. Most of his touchdowns that he has, are rushing touchdowns. Him running around trying to make plays. That's not going to do well in the NFL if he wants to get to that point. But I feel like he's the 3rd best quarterback. I think that Browning is probably the 2nd best, and you have to give Deshaun Watson his due. And I'm very impressed by Deshaun Watson that he's come back into the spotlight and has done well. So kudos to him. All right, so let's get to there are 3 games I want to talk about. And I'll make this relatively short, but just hang in with me here, ladies and gentlemen. First game, let's talk about Penn State versus Ohio State in Happy Valley. And I'm pretty sure the Ohio State fans would like to make it Sad Valley. No pun intended. But it's going to be an interesting game. J.T. Barrett, he's a Heisman Trophy favorite. He's been in the Heisman Trophy running since the beginning of the year, and he's looked relatively good. And I think, the defense of Penn State's going to have to focus relatively on him. And the question is that, what do you expect from Penn State? Well, I feel like they're a team on the rebuild, and they're going to get better because they've looked good. Even that loss against Pitt a couple weeks ago, they looked good. And I feel that, but I think Dennis Franklin, I don't think he's the right guy for Penn State. I think they had the right guy in Bill O'Brien when he was here, but he left to go to the NFL. I think that eventually, Penn State might get rid of him, and I think they'll have to get a new coach. But I think player-wise, there's some interesting players. And, there's guys on the defense that are very good, including, this kid lives literally across the street, right across, the same town. Well, not the same town. The town across from mine. Garrett Sickles, number 90, defensive end. He's from where I am, and he's been playing relatively well. Not just because I'm biased and I like him, but also because he's been one of the better players on defense. And look, they have some good talent all around. They have some really good talent from running backs. Their quarterback's going to get better, McSorley, and so the whole thing. So let's get to my prediction. Let's think. I think that Ohio State's going to win this game, and I think they're going to win it in convincing fashion. I'm going to say 35-14. I think that Ohio State's just that much better. I think they're going to roll away with this victory. I think it'll be close for a little while, but I think eventually Ohio State will roll like they normally do and roll over the Nittany Lions and come away with a victory today. All right, let's talk about what I think is probably the biggest matchup of the day, and that's Alabama versus Texas A&M. This is why it's interesting. Alabama has not lost a regular season game since 2012. Can you tell me? Well, no, a home game. Can you tell me who was the last team to beat them at home in the regular season? Besides Ole Miss, Texas A&M, back in 2012. And who was the quarterback then? Johnny Football, ladies and gentlemen. When Johnny Football was a freshman and nobody knew who the heck he was. But that was his Heisman moment, and that was the reason why I think he won the Heisman. And so, yeah, no, it should be fun. And another interesting thing, the quarterback for Texas A&M, Trevor Knight, he looks to try to beat Alabama for the second time in his career. When he was playing quarterback for Oklahoma a few years ago in the Sugar Bowl, he blew out the Alabama Crimson Tide, and he just rolled over them. And now he looks to try to beat Texas A&M today and try to move up in the standings, in the rankings, and try to get into the Final Four for the first. Remember, this week coming up is the first official showing of the college football playoff rankings. So a lot of people are excited to see how that goes. But, you know, this is going to be a big game. Will this decide whether Texas A&M is going to make the Final Four or not? I think so. I think even if they win, if they lose this game and they go on and win the rest of their games, I still think that they're going to get bounced. Because it's Alabama, man. They're the only team in the top 25 that hasn't moved at all. Because, let's face it, they're Alabama, and they've beaten everybody that they're supposed to beat, and they've beaten them with convincing fashion. Especially on the road, too. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, we'll have to wait and see. But, yeah, this should be a good game. I think it should be exciting. I think Texas A&M will play with a lot of momentum, even though it's in Tuscaloosa. But I think Alabama's going to roll with the victory. I think this one's going to be, I think I'm going to go with 32-28. Yeah, I'm going to say it's a close game. I think Trevor Knight's going to really come out and play well. And I think that, but I still think that Alabama will eventually come away with a victory. All right, the last game we're going to talk about. And I know that people are going to be upset that I'm even going to be talking about these guys, but we have Rutgers today. Yeah, and I know. I might start crying because of this. But I know Rutgers plays today at noon. They take on the Minnesota Golden Gophers. I've always liked that name, honestly. I like that name. But probably the number one topic to talk about with this game is the fact that there are 5 players on the Minnesota squad that are not going to be playing today because of a sexual assault restraining order against a woman who does the pregame and during the game activities. She filed a restraining order on 5 different players for a sexual assault, and so you know, and also Minnesota has suspended those players for at least this game. I believe that they'll probably suspend them for longer once they get all the details out. But this was put on just this morning. I found out about it. So, you know, look, it's not right. I've said this before about domestic violence. It's not right, man. It's just not right, and I don't like it. And I hate it whenever this comes up. People need to fix these things. They need to stop. This isn't right. We're all human beings out there, man. It's just not right, and it's frustrating. But let's get back to the game. The biggest thing that Rutgers fans will probably be celebrating about is they have a new quarterback playing this week. Giovanni Rossino is going to be under center for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Chris Laviano has been benched. Finally, he's been benched for his inconsistency. Inconsistency, not consistency. And so, yeah, and so I think it should be fun to watch. I'm interested to watch it because I want to see how Rutgers does with Rossino in there and see if there's any difference. But honestly, though, I know a lot of people that are thinking Chris Ash should get fired after this. I mean, after that 78-0 debacle by Michigan 2 weeks ago, it's hard to say whether is he really the right guy. Are these really the right guys for this program? But, you know, look, we'll have to wait and see. You know, my prediction for today, I don't know. I don't even have a prediction for you. I'm just going to say probably Minnesota's going to win because they're at home, but we'll have to wait and see. But that's going to do it for this week's NVP show. I want to thank you all, as always, very, very much for tuning in. I really appreciate you all, and I'm really excited to do this every week. But I want you guys to stay here right after I'm done because Pete and Aaron of the Philly Sports Guys will be coming on right after me, talking some more sports, being more, you know, getting some more elaborate talks, and it should be a lot of fun. So thank you all very much, and I will see you on the next episode of the NVP Show. So have a great day out there for all you NVPs.
Today's show is sponsored by Hargrove Demolition, your demolition experts. Hargrove is a family-owned and operated business right here in the southern New Jersey area, bringing you 45 years of demolition expertise. Hargrove has all your demolition needs, from emergency demolition service to demolition equipment rental. Hargrove is one of the state-approved recycling facilities right here in the southern New Jersey area. No job is too big or too small for Hargrove Demolition. Contact them today at one of their 3 locations.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When we make Beyond Natural dry dog and cat foods, we start with real meat as the first ingredient. We leave out corn, wheat, and soy. And we own where our dry food is made. 100%